little delay to get us online, so we do live streaming. Good evening, everybody. If you're a guest, please make sure you sit in the register. Thank you for being here. If you have not done so, please. We usually begin with allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and that the republic stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice. And so we do call, please. Here, Angela Brown, Jasper Christopher. Here. Harris Davis. Jenny Solis here. Ray Hunter. Keith Goshen. All right. So we do only have 4 minutes. So is everyone here with the applicant, or do we have some regular audience members just one?
Regular audience, yes.
Okay, so we're here to observe. Be helping out. Okay. I'm a reader or adopt policy, just, This policy, the Brooklyn Township Zoning Commission, at each applicant will be given 10 minutes for at the discretion of the chairperson to make a formal presentation. The chair will allow questions from the commission members in order to provide a timely and orderly discussion of business for consideration. Finally, the audience will then be given up to 3 minutes or at the discretion of the chairperson for each speaker to respond. The chairperson may limit repetitive debate, and all comments from the audience must be addressed to the chairperson. That's it. Lisa, can you verify that this meeting was advertised?
Right, yes. On September 12, 2025, in the township Facebook page and on the website.
So we have 2 sets of meetings that need approval this evening. We had a special meeting on September 9th, and then we have a regular BZC meeting also on the take a motion to approve those minutes, please.
I'll make a motion to approve. Do you want to approve them separately?
You know, I can do it together.
You can make a motion to approve the BZC minutes from 9/9/2025 for the special and for the regular scheduled meeting on 9/9.
I'll second that.
Ms. Brown? Yes. Ms. Catlin? Yes. Ms. Close?
Yes.
Mr. Christopher?
Yes.
So we do have an applicant here tonight, BZC 19-007, Ross Estates, for modification of approved zoning plan filed by Villas. Did I say that right? Villas? Tell me
The Dallas.
Medios Development LTD, PO Box 278, Low Center, Ohio 43035. Applicant is submitting a request to modify the approved zoning plan for 42.76 acres. I will not read those parcel numbers. Hyatt Road, Delaware, Ohio 43035. So we've got some folks here to represent that.
Yeah. Yeah. This it'll be easier. You know me that I like. While you're going through the technical stuff. So here's what I wanted to sort of catch everybody up to speed on. So several meetings over the history, we've been asked by the trustees, and I probably you guys as well, to sort of finalize a preliminary development plan. In other words, instead of doing it where this came in, okay, where are those lots and houses? So we redid the west side of the tracks to give it more character. Same development overall, same green space, same density, all that stuff. But I just wanted you to see, so what you're seeing here is what's approved as the final preliminary development plan. And Ross Estates obviously is not formally in Evans Farm because it was something that we had with the Ross family afterwards. Actually, I know you remember giving sort of Terry Segrist, one of our supervisors that I moved up here, and we bought a house for him. So, and that's remaining. So last night we were approved through the trustees for the southern portion, we'll say, of this tract as a whole tract. And so tonight, perfect timing from the same standpoint of giving the story and how we are. So this originally was zoned for 77, 80 foot by 140 lots. And that we were all the way through that. Then sometime during the period before we started it, the school came to us and said, hey, will you donate a bunch of money slash a bunch of land to us? We had already closed with the Ross family, obviously, and we did that. So we donated that to the school. We really wanted to, our plan was to make this cohesive and to bring the Ross property up to the standards of Evans Farm, because originally it wasn't. We had a lot of different standards that we hold dear at Evans Farm, and we want to bring the Ross property into it. And we wanted to make this whole, against the railroad tracks, cohesive, same trails, connectivity, the green space, etc. So these lots match, and there are 66 of them, I think, not 77. And so I want Greg to walk through how we arrived there and what we're asking for as far as the lot sizes and where we are and why it makes sense to do this. Also, you'll hear tonight that the conditions we worked with the trustees on here, meaning no vinyl, will be offered as well, because again, we want all this to be cohesive in the same product in the same neighborhood. So everything that we agreed to last night, then will continue here. Same thing with the mounding and the pine trees every 12 feet, and everything that we got approved last night. We'll carry forward to the Ross standards as well as our Evans Farm standards. So I'll let Greg Chillog from the Edge Group walk through your books, where we are, and then I'm here to answer questions.
My name is Greg Kellogg. I'm a landscape architect and land planner with the Edge Group. This exhibit that Dan was referencing, it is in your packet. It's in your 11x17 packet. It's at the back. It's Exhibit F. So take a little closer look at that. Maybe for some context while we're still talking about the map, but as Dan was saying, this entire track from the school south, we now have an approved development plan for Norris. We have a developed lot with the school. And so what we're talking about tonight really is this 19 acres plus or minus of what was originally zoned as part of the Ross Estates. That original zoning permitted 71 new single family lots, 72 total, including the existing lot, 71 new lots. We're here tonight, as Dan said, is we're really trying to fill in the gap and continue the character, the quality of the Evans Farm brand and development northward into this parcel. So what you'll see before you tonight is a proposal for 65 new lots of varying sizes, and I'll go through that. Right now, I think one easy way to break this down is what we've done is we've created basically 3 sub areas. We've assigned a sub area to the existing home. We've assigned a sub area to the existing school property. And our commitment in the text tonight is all those standards that were approved and in place as part of the original zoning remain. So what we're considering tonight as far as divergences, new standards, really is only applicable to the sub-area C. Everything else remains the same. So that's the sub-area C is this southern portion that is between the school and the now approved Norris at Evans Farm development. What we're proposing is 65 new lots These would be a continuation of the lot sizes that were approved in Norris. Those would be the 43-foot wide lots. There are 62 of those. And there are also 3 62-foot lots, 62-foot wide lots. We will be continuing the high quality standards and commitments that we made in Norris will be applied to this site. We made some commitments last night to the trustees with the prohibition of vinyl in our standards. So we're back to no vinyl, natural materials, masonry on the front facades of the homes. And we also made a lot of commitments relative to how we mitigate the garage, the impact of the garages on the streetscapes. So those included things like carriage style doors, a percentage of the garage door can make up of the front facade, how many of the homes have to have the garage door behind the front door of the home so that the porch becomes very pronounced. That was really the major issues that we worked to overcome with the trustees. I think one of the biggest things that probably jumps out at you as you go through here is that we're here with 6 divergences. So I want to kind of break those down. There are really 3 categories of divergences. So the first one deals with a perimeter setback that is applied to PRDs. And it exists down here on the southern property line. The divergence there is essentially trying to eliminate anything along the southern boundary line so that we can really connect these two pieces of land and be a cohesive neighborhood. So we don't have a gap again between those. Divergences 3 through 6, those really deal with the lot sizes. So it deals with all the setbacks, the lot widths, the lot coverages that allow us to bring in the 43-foot wide lots that were in Norris last night. So those would be changes from the originally approved zoning plan. The last one I want to talk about is divergence 2, and it's about open space. So our request here is the request in the divergence is to reduce the minimum required area of open space from 20% of the gross area of the PRD area. So that's the entirety of it, which would be approximately 8.55 acres as originally approved, to a minimum of 5 8/10 acres. And I think the justification here is very important, and to have an understanding of that. So sub-area A is the school site. It's approximately 21.5 acres. It was, as Dan said, it was donated to the Olentangy Local School District as a site for Peachblow Crossing Elementary. We think that the donation of the 21.5 acres mitigates and offsets the open space reduction of approximately 2 3/4 acres. So what we're asking for, and we're justifying the ask, is we donated 21.5 acres. We're asking for 2 3/4 acres to be mitigated, approximately 10% of that site. So what that does is then that allows us to meet the requirement on the remainder of the site. So I think that's a very important concept to understand and what we're asking for. And like I said, I know when you see 6 divergences, it jumps out at you. When you really break it down, there's really 3 categories. And most of them, 3 through 6, really work together with the lots. That's kind of the technicality of it, the justification of what we're asking for. I really want to walk you through kind of the site plan itself. Like we said, it is a continuation now of the Norris development on the south. It will have an entrance off of Pyatt Road, south of the school. That will enter onto a park space with a pond, landscaping, mail facilities, shelters, benches, seatings. We do have preliminary landscape plans that show you all those amenity areas and the wonderful landscaping that we're going to have here. I think one of the other concepts to talk about with the park is previously, and that Dan has shown a destination and linkages plan that really shows how Evans Farm functions as far as walkability. It shows you where you're walking to and how you walk to those places. One of the things that is critical to this is on that plan, this town center destination exists here. We also have a school site as a destination here. We have smaller destinations of these green parks along the way. The key connector here is a walking path that walks along this. So it takes you from the town center, along the green spaces through Norris, along the green space at Ross, and it connects you to the school. So all of these destinations are now connected by a pathway along one side of the road through the development and a pathway along. So I think that's a major amenity that makes some sense now of where you can walk to and shows you how walkable this area is.
And the same commitment we used in carrying forward the 10-foot bike trail will be along the front to connect with the school. I'm actually working with the group that has the little family she got stake set and the buyer. We're getting easements there in front of there as well. So there's no break to the 10 just because it's in their house.
Kind of leaving the site plan, going into architecture, like I mentioned earlier, we are committing to all the same standards that were approved last night with Norris, and that includes our rendering of what these homes will look like. It will include the Evans Farm standards of the hedge, the sidewalk to the front street, several other upgrades dealt with the garage doors, carriage style doors. We made recommendations on how to use colors to help mitigate that and make that garage door go away. The requirement for the front porches to be prominent and how to make those work. Coach lights.
Also, we from the old zoning, our garages we agreed that they would be either be flush with the front door or you can come out like the whole time or behind. So that was something that wasn't originally.
Yeah, and that applies to 70% of the homes. The other ones will not go beyond the front porch as we've stated in the text. I think that's it. I keep trying to keep it short. And really would be here to respond to some questions and maybe guide the discussion. So those are really the highlights. Dan, any
We have
closing words?
We have what we signed. I will say this, this is Stephen Hicks from Moran. They really stepped up and with what they've done, including the green. Like we don't have the property, we don't have hold you really tall natural materials, and really applaud you guys for stepping up to get to the standards we all think better for the community. So,
thanks, Andy. Stephen Hicks, Director of Land from Ron Holmes, Columbus. Just wanted to stand up and thank Dan and Greg and staff at Berlin Township and all the community here. It's been a bit of a journey on what was reviewed and approved last night, and our intention is to have a cohesive community that integrates into Evans Farm, integrates into Berlin Township. We've gone through great efforts to make sure that we're providing a product to this community that is front porch focused, that minimizes the impact of the garage door, that it maintains a lot of that same Evans Farm character that we've been that we all appreciate through a master plan community like this. So we're very excited about this addition to the community, and it's our intention to match all the same commitments that we made in the prior in the southern property, and include those same commitments into this Ross rezoning. So we want to be able to use the same product, so it's nice, cohesive, walk from one part of the community to the other part of the community in the future and not be able to spot, a difference there. This is all being done in a thoughtful, planned out manner. And we put a lot of effort into this product to make sure that it's up to the standard. Same way when we received a recommendation for approval for the last plan, we want to make sure we're providing that same quality. So appreciate your time.
I'll leave it at that. We're available for questions.
All right. Anybody want to start with your questions? So I have a few. And I went page by page. I was looking online. So the one sub-area B is an existing home, but that is still part of
It stays,
development.
it stays with that. The Ross family and all of us get originally in the whole deal with zoning. That it has a good history, and the Ross family is still heavily involved in Delaware County, who they are, so it stays there.
Okay, so it's not removed from this subdivision. I mean, I'm sure that's not the case, but it is.
Right. It stays.
And same thing with the school. That is part of this subdivision.
Yes.
It's all part of the same PRD work.
Well, that's good. That's how it was originally.
Right.
Didn't detect that that had changed, but. Or make sure. So the letter from the city engineer, the county engineer, sorry, talked about the drainage outlet and the pond in the center. And, I just wondering if you had any comments on their concerns.
Other than we have received their comments, and we will address any of those engineering comments as we get into potential final development plan and final engineering. That's when we will address those. All that stuff will have to go through the county engineer's review process.
I really do have to do that, but I just wondered if there was any dialogue so far. That's going on. And they talked about the CBU parking, not an acceptable configuration. Are there thoughts about how you make that an acceptable configuration?
At this point, we're going to continue to work with them to come up with an acceptable solution to that.
Because I didn't quite understand what their objection was. Parking, do they want?
It's the same that we did, just got approved at Arrowhead, so we're working through that.
Okay. So when I first saw the square foot on the lots, 5375, let me tell you, I'll be honest. So that's about 25-30%. Are the other lots that you mentioned yours, what's their average lot size? Lot size?
It's the same
Same thing.
same size.
So really, this is not Evans Farms, but it's Evans Farms adjacent.
Yeah. And that's actually, those lots, that 43 are bigger than a lot of the lots we have in Orange Township. The whole thing here is without the alleys, which we're not doing here because of the railroad tracks, et cetera. And changing the road configuration. We wanted to get affordable product in this world today, like I've said a billion times. And so that's why we went to 43 except works. We tried to look at the right cost and try to figure out how you build a product still to the standards we have at the farm, but at the same time offer something that's not 600,000, 650.
What price point are you thinking this will be?
We'll be starting in for the low to mid fours and going up.
So yeah, I have a little bit of palpitations on the lot size, but I do understand what we're doing. And Jim, maybe you can speak to this, is with Evans Farms, we agreed to those lot sizes, to those densities. This is not Evans Farms now. It sort of sounds like you're going to use the same architectural review board and an HOA.
Same master association, everything, which is, I know it's not been the original Evans Farm,
Right.
but we always considered it part of Evans Farm. And I know, I don't know what you have to do to formally bring it in, other than make it look good, and it's in. I mean, it's not, but yeah, everything the same. It is Evans Farm for us. It's just not in the original zone.
I mean, as a commission, we would typically consider a parcel like this on its own merits and really wouldn't talk about
Right.
it.
There's no question.
So yeah, I'm a little, like, I don't want to say confused, but I find it a little like, I'm not quite sure how to navigate that.
So, and that's, I mean, everything they said is accurate. I think we are in a scenario where is it a little bit of a square peg round hole? Sure, but is it a big change? No. A big jump to see that it's contiguous, that's right? So is it weird to think that it would follow, all the regulations? No. Not a jump to make that connection. You're not wrong. For its purposes, it is a standalone PRD. But the other piece of review, it just happens at the private deed restriction, or the deed restriction private covenant phase. You all are public covenants, and they can bring it into Evans Farm, HOA, community, any property that legally can be brought into separate, whether it's under the Evans Farm PRD or some other. If these will get master planned in pieces, if they're all by law or the original, like declaration, the original deed restriction, if it was contemplated and or amended to include other property, there's absolutely no problem with that. But I don't think we can keep them separated in our minds. If the property comes in under and is treated for all intents and purposes as this farm for private covenant purposes, that helps nail down what they probably can't do or what would have been kind of cumbersome to do, which would have been to amend the whole theory to add this one we did. It couldn't have been done otherwise.
While they're two different PRDs, the wording is going to be exactly the same.
I get it.
So from your perspective, you have that protection today.
I mean, my, thought where I go with is, what if property next to that was undeveloped? And somebody came in and said, well, you let Evans Farms do it, or you let Ross do it. It's not Evans Farms. We would like, 5,200 square foot lot too. Whereas,
Yeah,
we
this is,
consider,
yeah.
I know exactly what you're saying, I get it, but I get concerned about folks come in and say, you did it in this case, we want that too.
Well, I can tell you, we are into the NCA. We are using the Master Association to run. I mean, again, just
Yeah.
let me know, we are, and we own it, and we are bringing it into Evans Farm. Regardless if somebody else wants it, that's what we're doing, because it needs to have the upgraded standards, and it needs to have a continuation of what's south. I mean, and we're losing from tax base for the township, we're losing each book. And I like the idea of keeping it consistent, but there's lots of that same size next to it. I don't want these, and again, from an aesthetic standpoint, I don't want to be driving around Evans Farm and all of a sudden there's a bigger lot subdivision that doesn't match with the two streets that were required to attach to it. And then people feel like, my part of this community, or is that state section versus this? Yeah, it just makes sense.
I like the transitional
Plan.
I like it.
That piece wouldn't have bandwidth with it either.
Oh.
So that would be bad.
Divergences talk about impervious, not impervious, but paved areas. So, did you not calculate the school area for that? Because if it's part of the same PRD,
That-
good. So I'm not sure you
that-
need that.
Well, we need it for each individual lot.
Okay.
So it's on an individual lot basis.
On its.
Yeah. So that means
Okay.
the driveway, the sidewalk, the footprint of the home versus the area, the gross area lot.
is we also work with the trustees on making sure that any exterior lighting does not bleed up to the person's property. I'm just, sorry.
Well, that does, that's probably further down in this discussion.
Right.
That meeting was last night, and it's available. We're going to make a proposal.
Right.
So,
Oh, yeah.
I'm there. I'm available to list out.
Okay. This has been a disconnect we've seen in the past.
I know.
Make some changes.
That's why I'm sorry. That's why I'm explaining.
I like it. So yeah, there was some language in there, and I think this probably is moot now because you guys have made some comments regarding the garage doors, but I'd still like to know what your intention was with this language. Garage doors will be architecturally subordinate. That means that we're gonna make the garage doors like the feature of the home, but- because they tell me they're gonna be fancy, so, but not stand out.
The intent is to be, is to promote the porch. It should be subordinate to the design of the porch.
Okay.
So we offered suggestions on how to do that color, make it recede, make the porch move forward.
We should have working on that. All.
And then your language in here did talk about vinyl and plastic as far as the materials, but it sounds like that's something that was addressed. And is no longer pertinent.
Vinyl cladding, vinyl siding is out. We still maintain the vinyl soffit, type stuff.
Anybody else? Okay.
There's no, like, when you look at the north side, the last 21 trees left, there's no trees separating the school.
Yeah.
Is that what brings some trees in there? I know.
You know, that's a good point from this standpoint. Yeah.
I mean, there's a bus drop off line, it's certainly going up to it, like,
Right. And I think we wanted to at least give some buffer on the side and walk the school too.
We did consider the buffering of the path. The trick with the landscaping on that north side would be on lot, would be on a private lot. But I think it's something we can look at.
Yeah.
We don't have any problems. It goes to the property owner's owner, would prefer some other. Lots.
So I'll just clarify this, once again, I'm still struggling with that. School is part of PRD. Could you not put the trees on this school property?
Jeff Gordon, probably did that as well, but we can commit to buffering those houses. I think it's a great idea. And I think that's what we went through last night. I read the discussion. Yeah, absolutely.
and then going back to, for example, like divergence 3 with the side yard setbacks, you're going from, you want to reduce the side yard setback from 12.5 feet to 6 feet. Is that also what was done in Lawrence?
It's the exact same.
And by the way, all of our community, Evans Farm, at 6 foot side yards, unless it's it could be wrong, I think we switched them all to 6 just for those areas where we need structure. If you get to a 90 or 100 foot lot, we go to 10. So that's how we are.
Prior to this modification request, was it asphalt, it wasn't?
No. Oh, since this one that rocks was, I think we requested when we went through, I want to say, but I have to look at the It's
I
gone.
would always love to see what this was at previously, to know where you were at, like what this was approved at, to know if I was going from like 10 down to 6.
Yeah, no,
It's small.
it's slowing down from the previous. So it went from
I mean, Norris was also modified, that, what's approved at Norris was originally, that was also modified. I don't love how he's,
Well, Norris was, I'm sorry, Norris was part of that farm always. And the
Right.
requirements from the original zoning, at Norris, we could put this small lot up to a big lot, and the original zoning was the six.
okay.
Yes, I just want, that I'm 100% sure. Yeah. And can I say, in a 6-foot side yard, and I live in a house where we just built a nice wall and patio next to me, and they came right to the property line. I'm 6 feet away from the property. Wow, that's close. But what it allows us to do is get a bigger house on a smaller lot. Really, it's not to, cram in more lots as much as it is from the architectural side. And like I said, we originally went to that. And, it allows side yards, putting, with the 6-foot side yard, allows people to put their living space on the side of their house on these smaller lots versus the rear.
I think the other thing you got to think about with the smaller side yards, people are buying into a lifestyle. There are options out in the market where they can go buy a lot that's 12.5 foot setbacks. Specific to the Evans Farm brand character, 6-foot side yards, what that allows us to do is to take that space that would otherwise be on a lot and put it in a destination. So it goes into your neighborhood parks. That's what allows us to do those types of amenities, is we take it out of the side of the lot, put it in the front of the house. It's public space. And the people who choose that are choosing that specific lifestyle as opposed to going down the road and getting the 70 or 60 foot lot with a 12.5 foot side yard.
I guess, to me, I'm not seeing a ton of amenities, like even if we do that in Norris, like, there's just not a lot in the public space, the green space. Like, I know you're saying in the corner there, over, when you go down into what you're saying, I can't remember what you called it, over to the right in that round area there.
This is the
But
town
otherwise,
center.
there's not a ton, other than over to the town center. I'm not seeing a ton, there's no parks or anything
Oh,
like that.
there's certainly parks. Yeah.
Oh, you have
If you go to that. All the parks,
But what's in that?
they are programmed.
Why am I not seeing the programming in mind?
Because of the level of this drawing is massive. Hold on, I'll recommend. I'll show you, this is a Norris, same,
Right.
look, it was approved last night. This has all the amenity spaces in it. So as you can see on this landscape plan, features here around the stormwater management. There's a shelter, there's a playground, there's seating areas, there's a open lawn.
But there's nothing in the common area.
Well, in Ross, we have a pond, and then we have a path that goes around that pond. We have seating around it, seating opportunities. We have the community mailbox feature and shelters. We don't have any large play areas, but that's also part of the approach that we're taking at Evans Farm, is that all the open spaces are diverse as well. So every open space is different, they have different characters, they perform different functions. So some function as large open spaces, some function as smaller gathering spaces, different types of destinations along those pathways.
What do you think? Because again, the builders here, I'm here, and again, this is all keeping, so we're amenable to discuss.
It's making me feel as though like there's very tight lots and you're wanting to draw me out where there's not any like room to have enjoyment on my lot. So I'm not seeing the common area in this particular
Right. Agreed. And
Right, so like-
other than the length and the benches,
Right,
is there a place for the kids?
right. And there's not
to
gonna have
play,
this
you know?
particular,
And can we get a little fire pit in for the adults to sit around? But
I think it's part of a promotion of walkability, is that you have to walk somewhere else to find, you don't have an amenity outside your front door, you have different amenities. And one evening, you may want to walk down to this park, or this park, or you may want to hang out at this park, but they each offer something unique and different. That's the approach to the destinations and linkages.
And I don't want to get.
I'm just trying to be convinced.
I remember, no, okay. I love the idea. We've been around here, not ready for some good ideas. I think we should take that. The building and put that back then it's right here with the school and the safety program and down there. And we could fence in that corner. That's a good idea. You got it.
What are you doing?
And do what? That's right.
Well, I think, well, you were going to explain to you to come up, but I think it has to be, again, we're talking kids, right? We're talking kids right next to school, great place. Most people are going to allow it. Out the back door, walk to school, no problem, which most of these people will also. I think it's gotta be a kid's play. What do they call it? With the kids, ability for parents to sit and hang out there.
I just want to point out that we are also going to be constructing a pathway from this into the school, connecting into the school that takes you to the top lot area of the school. That has also been agreed to. This area here.
into the school playground.
Yeah.
Yeah. But again, it's, the kids play. Because of the pond, you're not always going to want to. Even though we do, as you guys know, we put in 10-foot shelves to go out that are that deep, so if the kid doesn't fall in the pond, it's gonna be able to stay down. So I do that on all my stuff.
I like the idea of a community
Yeah.
place that people can gather and just get to know each other.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
So, okay. What I would like to do is, I would like to go back to the first thing that you said, one of the first things you said, where there were 70, I think you said 77 or 70 what?
71 new homes.
So when that was the case, was the land already donated to the land use?
No.
71 lot was actually on the 42 acre.
Yeah.
And not on the 18 acre.
The PRD is the same size. The
I
PRD,
understand, yeah, the PRD is the same size, but now, Owen Angie has a school on 21 of the acres. So now you're proposing 65 lots on 18 acres.
we're proposing 65 lots, not on 18 acres. We're proposing 65 lots on the 63 acre PRD.
And
Even on that original zoning plan, there were areas that you could make that argument that it was denser in this zone than in this zone.
You're right.
now it's everything on one zone.
It's everything in within one PRD.
You're saying it,
Yeah.
and they're
So
smaller.
let me give you a scenario. You're including the green space. Because the school sits in the PRD, you're including that as green space.
We're including 2.75 acres of it as green space.
Okay.
as a credit towards our green space.
Do you consider the school public during the day?
I don't know about that. I consider the school as a definition of open space as a community facility. And Jen, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that as an option for open space is dedication of a community facility, whether a school, a clubhouse, or any of those types of things. It doesn't have to be
So
lawn.
do you understand what happens when people in the community walk onto school grounds in the middle of the day unexpected?
We are not suggesting that anybody should walk onto the school ground. We are asking for a reduction in the requirement of the amount of open space. We're not here to ask that you count the school as open space. We're asking for a reduction in the open space
I want to hear.
based on,
Keep going, because I want to hear this.
It's a huge safety concern. A huge safety concern.
and we are not suggesting that people walk onto that property.
Well, let me ask you this, you thinking, again, I'm with you on the safety concern. Would we, want to, I'm just trying to think of the backyards, again, buffer. But then again, people, if they walk on the school, if kids walk on, right, or adults. Yeah, I don't know how you would stop them from walking, just like walking across the street, but I'm trying to think.
You could, but you have a playground there that you are, as mentioned just a minute ago, well, there's a playground, that's like a right over school.
So you're gonna have kids right behind those houses on the playground too.
Exactly. So what I want to be very clear about is that we're not talking about the land that was donated to Plantangi that K through 5 are in, and teachers are in, and administrators are in. We're not talking about that being part of our green space.
It is not part of our green space.
So.
The way we have it written, it is not part of our green space. We're asking for a reduction in the amount of green space that's required, and that 5 acres is now on our site.
But I want to finish that too, then. We do need to be careful, especially in today's environment, of making sure, because we are doing it half the school, because the school wanted it too.
And that's fine, yeah.
But I'm thinking I think you need to fence that back property line to demarcate in the back of those lots. Because, what, yeah, but there's an item on the pan that says, no, school hours, mittens, school property, yeah.
Something that is actually designating that you can't just wander onto school property.
And people would, at least without.
Can I give you an example?
Yeah.
One of our elementary schools in the last 2 years had a father that was a coach, a soccer coach, and didn't realize he couldn't just walk onto the school property and start figuring out where the kids were gonna play soccer. And that was not a pleasant experience. And that
I
was-
wouldn't have known. I seriously wouldn't have known.
And that's what I want to make sure of, is that when this is done, we're not inviting people to just utilize.
We do not own that school property.
100%.
We do not own the school property. That's
Oh,
why
we do
we're
need it, but
focusing on that.
We keep talking about.
She's right, we do need to make-
PRD, and
It isn't a
there's
PRD,
very
a different
clear
owner.
distinction.
we will,
Yes.
we'll commit to
That
that.
I am extremely passionate about.
I know you, we will commit to that, 'cause it's a good point. I didn't think. I know exactly what you're saying, and we will work with the schools to make sure that is not inviting, in fact, giving people notice that you're not.
That you're not.
You're not.
on their emergency
Yeah.
hours.
Agreed.
Yes. What was the, I wanted to understand, I think actually, hold on, that wasn't me anyway. I would find with the backyard backing up to each other, because it's, again, it's, you're flowing from one to the next.
You're going through the divergences.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm looking at the, so can you tell me what the approved lot size is in Norris? Yeah, 5375, is that what Norris and how many of those lots?
23 feet wide, by 125.
And then there's some larger lots that are,
So I want to give you the right number.
Do you know how many you have in Norris?
Yes. Let me look it up. I'll give it. I have an idea, but I don't want to guess. So we've got, we've got 142 lots that would be the 43-foot lot type A's. And we've got 41 lots that would be the 52-foot lot type B's. And those come in different configurations, either within the block or on the corner,
Okay.
but they all support the
So,
same
I
product.
mean, obviously, we have a higher percentage here. I think if you are providing that buffer, if you are doing something up in that front area, what I think we absolutely would need to see up in that front area, however, is, right now on the plans, you show mountain in that area. Yeah.
That is something we committed to last night along high. Was 3 to 5 mounting.
So in that area, if we're putting some type of destination, gazebo, pavilion, fire pit, something, that will need to be worked out. Can you please explain, is the Tompkin property, is that staying there?
yes. She passed away, and I've talked to their estate lawyer, and they were friends. He knew my house, so we all, she
Okay.
passed away. Their estate lawyer is working on it, and the guy from, the last thing I heard from the realtor, because there was a for sale sign in front of this house,
Yeah.
the Ross house, because he redid it all. Terry did 3/4 of it. He actually finished it off. The last thing I heard from this lawyer is he was thinking of buying it and fixing it up and selling
Okay.
it. He lives here.
With that, then, I think we need to have some type of a buffer along 62.
Yeah.
Since that is not,
I talked to them too as well, and I told them when they tried to buy it, we would work that out. Yeah.
it's one thing for the street, but it's another for, because with that being, that is one of the, I think, the 43-foot lot is what it appears to be, 62.
Yeah, on that side.
If there's a 6-foot, if it's sitting on the property line by 3 feet, essentially, then, yeah, definitely.
Okay.
The impact of the lot coverage that was in previous surveys, going up to 40%. That does very much concern me. And I know that you have to commit to getting rid of whatever water they can come up with. But that makes me very nervous because it's such a large amount of paved.
So can I could present to you that it is not a larger amount of total number. So let's say I have a house that's 1,000 square foot footprint on a 10,000 square foot lot. That impervious coverage is 10%. I keep that house the same 1,000 square feet, but make the lot 500 square feet, which means I reduce the side yards. It is now what? It's the same amount of impervious surface. It's just a higher percentage. It's a calculation that we're doing. We're not making more concrete or more building. It's just the calculation.
It's the calculation, but when you consider that.
I don't like it. Either.
Yeah, most
Reduce.
of the land is not anywhere for the water. That's what my.
Well, we all that is accounted for. Stormwater is certainly, we're regulated by the state to catch all that water appropriately and deal with it and to mitigate it.
And then we hear.
Well,
So what is, can you tell me what the worst?
it's the same.
It's
It has to be. We're fitting the same product on the same size lot.
there though, you have retention ponds, wherever. You have ponds, plus you have green space. So you have more places for the water to go.
We have one place for water to go, and that is retention ponds. That is how stormwater is handled with impervious surface. We don't direct it to green spaces.
No, I know, but I'm saying in the green space actually, something.
We still have a similar percentage of green space, even though again, it's 19 acres versus 43 or 63, whatever that was last night.
So you don't have any concerns about water?
I don't have concerns about water because we have licensed engineers who deal with that, and you have to deal with the stormwater by state regulations. And the county really is who's reviewing that and holding us accountable. They just will not agree with an engineering.
Engineer, they will.
I'm just going back to what we hear. Every meeting. In the public meeting.
I mean, yeah.
I do want a discrepancy, I want you guys to figure out how there's this discrepancy on page, is it a B1?
B1,
You have 65 lots. When you go to the next page, it has 66 lots. There's actually a lot in there somewhere.
66 would be the existing lot.
Oh, that's because the PRD, the existing home, is all a single lot by itself.
No, so you start off with one, and you go all the way up through, it's 22, 21. You start off with one, you go all the way up.
B2.
That's what I said, yeah, in B1, it calls out 65, when you go over to B2, it calls out 66. So there's somewhere in here, there's,
That one's updated. That utility plan needs to be.
yes.
We are committed to B1.
To B1, yes.
For the sake of that utility plan, the utilities still function as the preliminary design, regardless of that number.
I would like to see where we're gonna put.
Well, we will commit to that too. We'll get them on a plan. We'll work it out.
I don't know if you can more in the front, you know, the street in, to actually put green space here, because if you committed to a local road, doing mounting, if you could come to the road. So maybe put that a little bit further, and if it was more on this side. Yeah,
Or and, you know, I'm not the engineer, but the pond can get smaller than this, deeper,
something
and
is
then we can put. Well,
You get United States Central.
Yeah.
I don't want it for marketing, we don't want it behind house. Then
Well, there you go. Because then you are.
it's in someone's,
Yeah,
not their backyard, but it's
I think the other thing, like we have this around here. We also have these, right now, you know, some sleeping areas. We can do issue ours. Yeah. In those zones. And that's pretty space that's probably 50 by 50.
Okay.
So
just
there-
having something not to speak of.
Yeah, absolutely. I would call it that. We can change that program up in there
Okay.
and introduce those in there. I like that, right?
I think I'm done.
Thank you. I want to say
Good,
that.
yeah.
No, they're great.
Save the best for last.
And I guess I'll start and then we're just going here. I know we talked about putting some sort of amenity there. Like the idea of a top lot actually scares me more because it's on the road.
And it's too close. We just talked.
So I like their idea, maybe
Convert some of these in here.
converting, and the other thing that comes into play, I think too, so not so much a top lot back there, but because you're also gonna have to put in the mountains and the trees that you committed through from north, so I think you're gonna start to run out of room. The other item I want to ask a question about is going back to the Delaware County engineer. Darcy brought up a couple of their points around the mailbox units. But I want to talk about those streets, the turnarounds at the west. Those were called out by the county engineer, and I don't know if that was called out for this plan or an earlier version, where it said that those are not acceptable public streets.
Well, probably as much as it will be, come up, it will end up to the final design of those cul-de-sac bulbs. Right now, they're cul-de-sac bulbs. They have opinions on whether there's islands in them or not. We have to figure that out with the engineer.
So there's a chance that this islands change.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah, once we get engineering, the technical review, we'll know exactly what those configurations are.
And again, I apologize. I just haven't seen that before. I don't know why.
And then I agree, the talking property I wanted to hear about, because I wanted to hear about, like, was that a future purchase plan or something? Because like, to me, that 61 lot, like, I'll be honest, I don't even want to see it there. Like, overall, the way these are kind of crammed in and with that western lot, I don't like the idea. I know you talked about buffering. If you put a house in 61 and you have 6 feet, like, how, you can't buffer in 6 feet to an existing property. And
I just want to make sure.
it's the one right north of town. So where if
Yeah.
you're talking about buffering, you can't buffer in a 6 foot side yard. So like, I have a hard time understanding how you could keep the lot.
And well, in the case when I talked to lawyer, he's just wrapping up the sale to our guy. In that case, we would kind of deal with that and put some on neighbors as well, just bring it on our side.
Well, that's,
Or I get what you're saying.
but I have a hard time with, like, I don't like it because it's so close, and you're asking me to give you the allowance to build on that property line with the expectation that you think you know who will buy it. But if we do it, we're basically saying, if that deal falls through, I've now permanently affected whoever might want to buy it, because they have a house on top of their buffer. And I'm not doing it anywhere else. I understand the other parts where you're basically matching up to Norris, but with that existing property, you can't give me a definitive, this person's owning it, they're here, they're saying it's okay. I'm not good with.
I got a solution. We, again, I love.
I'd like to hear it.
Thank you. No, we will commit, the builder and I just talked about, right? I mean, tomorrow, I'll go look them up and figure it out for tonight. I'm not committed to this. We will agree that that lot will have a side yard setback from the neighboring property of 25 feet minimum. And which means we're either gonna lose that or we're going to, when we get into the final development plan, if the pond shrinks and we switch the road over here, we can put it in another place. We have the same, we're gonna have to change, figure out these 4 lots, because I agree with you on the top. It really needs to come in turn. And what may happen, when we originally designed this a long time ago, we saw 2 ponds out in front. And that may be one of the comments that the engineer's trying to say. Because the water flow, just a little part of the property flows. So I'm thinking that we may be able to bring a pond out across the street, fence that, and then bring the top on the side, shrink this pond to turn. So we can commit from the final development plan, we'll stay 25 feet away. Then we know when we're reconfiguring for all the tile lot and everything else, we'll address that.
So Dan, what you're saying, I think, is that we'll be eliminating the perimeter setback along where we abut Evans Farm, and we'll commit to a 25-foot perimeter buffer along the north boundary of Tonkin property, is the way I would describe it.
So if it's a 43-foot lot, 25% setback,
Well, I
A
think
lot may
we're gonna reconfigure, so we may lose it, or we may still be able to get it in with the same green space and everything that we're doing, which we'll have. And if we don't, we'll lose. We understand, and I appreciate how much I think that, correct, I know I can get the neighbor to eventually get it, but for tonight, you guys need to permit it to be stand on.
And I can't remember what exhibit it is, but, oh, there it is. Actually, B2, the other side, it shows some of the existing trees. And it's that little leg between Norris and Tonkin, 29. So that would give it a similar dimensional buffer if you limit it to 25. Jump around to different pages. On the diversities, that was the number 1 divergence, was the setback to the other properties, which is the 50. And that was my only real issue with that one, was the Tonkin property. On the open space, I understand why you're asking for the credit because of the school. I think we've all talked about different areas of not wanting to include anything related to the school as part of considered open space, but making sure it's emphasized as a reduction credit because the school is existing there.
Yes.
But I like that you're committing to fencing along that back north property as well as the signage. I think the signage is important because the fencing helps with people that live in those direct lots, but signage on that pathway, and working with the school to make sure however that needs to be worded. Just so that folks realize we're not entering existing PRD space, they are entering a school property. And need to deal with
Jeff.
I'm okay with the rest of the 6 foot side yards, just because we are matching it to Norris, and I understand why we're kind of doing some of what we're doing. The lot size, moving down to 5375. I'm okay with the minimum being 5375, but I'll be honest, in the redoing, when I look at Norris, I think it's 70% of your lots are called out for 43-foot width. When I looked at your plan now for Ross, it's over 90, it's almost 95%. I'd like to see some better diversity there on lot sizes that would maybe more mirror what is there in North. the Norris. The last plan I had for Norris was kind of 183. It was 134 were 43s, 35 lots were 52s, 10 were 63s, and 6 were 71s. And that's the last documents that we presented.
Yeah, and I just want to point out that these are the same properties. So the same house that's on those lots. There's 71s, 62s that are on a corner.
Right.
So we call those out. They're just same product, a little bigger.
So, but I would like to see, a little bit more diversity there, to make it a little less compacted and cookie cutter. I know you don't have maybe quite the same number of corner lots, so that impacts the number, but even that, I can see where you still got more than the 3 units that you call out. So as you reconfigure, anything that can be done to maybe kind of change up some of the lot sizing so it's not all the same.
And we're going to work on that when we reconfigure to this plan and other stuff. So we can bring it in the final development plan.
You already discussed everything, the big ones I had down in my notes, the items that came from the trustees, we've already talked about that. The density, I understand your, it is the whole lot, the PRD, but the density falls kind of in this one area. As you reconfigure, I'll be honest, I like what Norris did with their ponds to the railroad as kind of a buffer where you're pushing the houses closer to the railroad.
Yeah.
Obviously, you can't really commit to anything there, but and I'm not necessarily asking you to, but I like that configuration a little bit better. I do have concerns about, you are lot 42, especially on that corner there, you are putting that thing, I can't imagine being in that house when the trains roll through. Having lived stayed close to railroad tracks at one point or another. Obviously, people will say you get used to it, but that is pretty close. I think there might be a couple lots here and there, but everywhere else, when you get into that railroad track corridor, you've got a bigger buffer space when we look at the overall plan, except for this one section.
It's a challenge on this site.
Yeah.
Because our drainage outlet is up here on this piece. So that's the reason we don't have a pond. All this drains to the railroad, this drains away. But we'll take a look at that as well.
In your landscaping plans, you called out some no-mow areas on. I'd like, it is like no-mow grasses, and I'm not sure what you meant by it, but since North doesn't have anything remotely like that, when we think of no-mow here, we think of like big field area. It doesn't really fit for what you're describing. So I'd like to see it like updated to maybe take that out. And if it's ornamental grasses, that's one thing, but a no-mow area to us tends to mean fields that are cut like.
I agree with you. We're not here, regardless of how we configure with the plan, this needs to be. So we'll remove that from the language of this being no.
Because we have different varying opinions on whether people like no-mow or don't. But it was, when I went back through, I looked at Norris a little bit. And I wasn't expecting Norris.
There's places for it, and there's places not for it. And again, when you talk about families and kids and play areas, I don't like areas that bring bugs and ticks. So,
Reducing the amount of places you can.
yeah.
We did include that along the railroad track strategically, I think, that's a way to continue kind of the natural trail that we were doing tracks.
If we are going to clear that stuff out next spring, underneath it is that main jet line area, and we do want to buffer, we want to leave that road there, so.
Yeah, and I'm referring more to, there's actually like no-mow grass considered around the pond.
no.
Yeah, that's,
We are taking the word no.
and maybe take that out, because I don't think that's really what you intended. I think that had to do more like ornamentals, not no.
Right.
So, but it may have just copied over, cut and paste. Very weird how that happened. So, we talked about the engineer, we went through the divergences. Quick question, trees. In the green strip between curb and sidewalk?
Yes,
And
yes.
in relation to Norris, is it the
Same
same way?
thing. Association, responsible, liable.
Just want to make sure that I thought that's what Norris said, but I want to make sure we brought it out now as opposed to later. Okay. Yeah, I think that's the end of my items. Comments.
We talked about how you're changing the focus to more works. The examples here are more steeps. They're in here. So
Right.
you changing.
Yes.
We actually eliminated that.
We eliminated that last night in the trustees meeting because trustee Rail didn't want it.
Yeah. Okay.
Get rid of it.
Okay.
It took a long time.
It's pretty. Are there any audience members who would like to take comments? No. Jerry, how about you? Okay, Jen, do you think we should go here?
Well, I just have two questions. I think I have- Okay, I understood that when these materials were first submitted, there was thought that we would submit different materials. That wasn't done.
It was.
Was. Okay, so the materials we have today are different than the ones that were initially provided for this review, but,
Yes,
okay.
They were corrected.
they were correct. They corrected some sub-area lettering.
That's not.
Yes.
The documents, we were gonna try to reference documents based on date, we, some of them are
They're dated September 3rd.
July, and some of them.
September 3rd.
Okay. Second question. Don't believe any of the changes that you're referencing. All that from last night, with the Norris application have been incorporated into this, nor would I have expected. 24 hours. I'm not sure if you're asking the commission for a decision tonight, but if you are, obviously those changes are to the materials that you have.
I would think that we would ask that prior to, that we would submit an updated version to the trustees that includes all those commitments per your review.
Like last night, didn't we agreed to come back, put them all in one book to the golf. We can commit tonight to all those, and then Greg can go back and incorporate it in to something that we say, here's the book. Versus waiting till the trustees. Might as
And
well.
we all know what all, where I'm going with this is, we don't know what all of these are. I can read from the resolution, the 5 or 6 modifications. However, that's not gonna capture the numerous yellow highlighted changes. And they don't have those. And I'm not trying to- part of that is to make them technical. If we aren't, maybe we are, maybe you are. Incorporating the yellow highlighted changes from the really important.
Can I ask you, based on what we learned last night, that what we're adding would generally can be considered more restrictive. So I'm trying to give them some comfort that what we would be adding, changing was more restrictive than what we had started.
Or can we just list changes that we've agreed to tonight? There, any vote, again, would be based on a solid, here's the commitments. And that's what
We can do all of those things, yes, to all of those. But they don't have them in front of them. And I don't know, I would want to speak for any of you, if you would be comfortable, whether we read them out loud to you, whether we turn around our laptops and do them for yourself. I mean, again, I'm not trying to force any of you into any position. I think you're probably all on the general with the changes that the trustees. But if I were in your shoes and I didn't have them in front of me, it'd be difficult for me to just like listen to them and go, yeah, I think that sounds okay. So I'm not sure how to get that's where I'm at. I'm not yes or no or neither or no way.
Question, the things that the trustees, yep. Correct. So, I mean, I would like to know what was specifically approved before it was being. I think if you read them, helpful to know how I'm gonna go.
We have to integrate that into our motions.
Yeah, and I'm not concerned about that. I mean, that document is this. It's not gonna be fancy. We're probably gonna say yellow highlighted changes identified in application 1, 2, 3, 4 from September 22nd. Like that, I'm not concerned with that. That is a definable, manageable, listable text. My concern is, do you have what you need to feel comfortable? And or could we get it to you?
And I know we put some of it, like removal of vinyl.
You want to read the
It's probably pretty
just the resolution, and then we can, I'm telling you, we're gonna add a few things. But let's start with the resolution from last time, and then let's add the additional things we talked about, like the 25 feet on the north property. But those guys.
I don't. Would that be useful?
Hey, right, you
I don't think it's in here.
better keep your track.
So the resolution that the board made last night is in the same structure, you know, as many of the motions that you all made. And so they adopted your recommendation of approval, modifications, and then made further modifications, which were as follows. Various revisions reflected in the modified text plans, materials, exhibits that were dated as last night's submission. So that catch-all sort of term. It captures all the changes that we have. That was one. 2, that the provisions regarding exterior materials reflected in the documents and materials dated September 18th, 2025, specifically modify and supersede the modification regarding vinyl siding recommended by the zoning commission. So this was where the commission had recommended the only on or no vinyl on front. The trustees of the applicants have described to you tonight and the development of the builder, committed to no vinyl. So that we wanted to be sure, we wanted to be clear that you had made a modification, the trustees made a further modification, with the trustees modification. 3, for rear elevations of homes, mounding and landscaping at final build shall effectively screen the rear elevations from view from high. As provided in the documents and materials dated September 18th, including the installation of evergreen trees at the ratio of at least 1 evergreen tree every 12 feet, and mounding of 3 to 5 feet in height, allowing reasonable breaks for utilities and small. 4, in the stormwater facility section on page 60 of the text, subsection 5 shall be added to read, quote, amenities shall not be eliminated due to stormwater facility design. Such amenities shall be relocated. 5, in the exterior lighting, lamppost, and yard lighting section, pages 56, 57 of the modified. Following sentence shall be added to the end of the section. All exterior lighting, except for security lighting, must be downlighting so that no light shall be cast onto the adjoining residential. And 6, the modified period of text shall be modified to include that this amendment number 3 applies to only the Ravinia North subarea. Any changes to other subareas are unintentional and no enforcement. So that there wasn't any unintended bleed over the things we had talked about. It's not being interpreted or misconstrued to apply to other areas, not Ravinia.
And then the additional commitments on top of that would be the 25-foot buffer on the property next to, was that 61?
Oh, wait, don't go to
Oh,
those yet.
sorry.
Go to your yellow highlighters. Because those, many of those are captured in some of the comments. That were
This goes to the architectural diversity, and as the highlighted,
Those highlighted are non-highlighted in this text.
okay, so they're in the text.
That is in this text, just not highlighted.
Okay, so here's what they are, so it's in the text. Home elevations shall not be repeating on either side.
What pages?
What page on Ross? Following the page.
This is a totally different format of text. It is not written like that.
But these highlighted,
They're
Yeah.
incorporated differently into a different style of text. It's not written out like.
Sorry, my brain is only breaking because of the dates. That information last night is that the binder is for the stuff.
That's within in there. Just design standards. Who didn't respond to each line. So we have different sections.
But I thought some of the highlighted language was new for last night.
No, that highlighted language highlights what's different from the approved version.
from the old north.
Okay.
But I
It shows the differences that have been made from the original.
Okay, but then there are non-highlighted items, like for example, the removal of the point 046 mil.
We took the highlight off of that because we went back to the original version.
no line. And this does talk about the
All
garage door.
The standards match. They're just written different, in a different format.
So the same garage doors, we upgraded it, that's in our text. Well, then I don't think to read that.
Well, it will be, that some of those we need to add to it, man, and that's what I'm saying.
Well, what I just started. Let's talk about the ones we know right now and finish up with these, if you feel that we need to add this part of the text that we've committed to these wonderful people that are taking all this time over these years to work with us. So we have the property line to the north with the 25 buffer. We have, locating a tot lot in a suitable area not to high road. We have no mow. Not, that's not, having no mow areas. We are committed to, fencing and working with the school for the proper signage to make sure people not only are notified, but are notified not to enter the school premises. And I'll work with Jeff Gordon on that. Am I,
Okay, the utility plan on page.
Master utility plan,
okay,
removal of the architectural exhibit.
removal of the architectural exhibit. In that site. And then update the utility plan.
I'm sorry, what is updated utility plan mean?
The one that says-
The number.
Replace it with the correct lot A.
Just
To be one.
It's make it match.
exhibit B2. B2.
B2 is the one with 16.
Then we look at what we agreed to and committed to in the Norris that we met, and maybe it's as simple because maybe it's as simple as saying we're accepting the commitment from Norris. But
I think I could walk quickly through this.
Okay.
And tell you what to add or take out on which.
yeah, please do. I'd rather.
Can I, two clarifications before we move away? You just said a 25-foot side yard to the north. Did you mean on lot 61 or?
To the north, lot 60.
North of top.
I'm where it abuts the adjoining property.
It would be this side
Okay. I was-
setback.
And then the top lot fence, did you say top lot fence?
Oh, fenced on the back line between the pool and the back line, and signage on the trail.
Right.
And then I think what we're gonna do is, well, we've already committed to that, removing the top lot. And again, I just pointed because it was a big green spot. We're gonna move that to a location that's not a budding
Okay.
line. And
It's near the pond. It will be fenced.
Well, I hate that, I hate concrete.
But I think pond is near its plane too.
Yeah, that's why I always put that in there, because I hate.
No,
passing them off. Kids get to a certain age.
Yeah.
We'll consider, let's look and see where we.
We'll consider the proximity when we find the right spot.
Yeah. Yeah,
We'll design it properly and safely.
and if it's too close to the pond, then obviously we're.
Sorry, now I didn't know.
Is the commission's inclination at this moment, not because we have to do anything different or change our path, but is your inclination right now to create our list of changes, modifications, concepts, and send the applicants with some homework for next time? Or is it to list each and every one of the things we've talked about tonight in your motion and move forward? I mean, and I know probably like, but at the risk of missing anything, there were just a number, very good, very beneficial, and I don't know that anyone is too far away on our meeting point, but there were a number of changes that we would have to have. A lot of changes.
A lot of changes. I mean, part of it depends on the applicant. However, and you're not a one step. As we're moving towards the one step, I think we're trying to be a little bit more diligent and make sure what is in our hands and what we vote on is exactly what we intend. And it's very difficult when you have this many.
Absolutely, we've done it.
Minutes,
We've
modifications.
got the back room and we've written notes and stuff, and what I want to do tonight, again, whatever we got to decide. What I want to do tonight is at least make sure that we're, we say, whatever, approve and condition on you bringing back this stuff and us making sure. Hey, the glass is always full. Yeah. We got up down the hill and sometimes.
Most of these we can make
No problem.
turn around really very quick.
Yeah, so we can. You can approve the conditions on us bringing something, but we can get it back to you within the next couple of days.
So there's nothing right now, we just have BZC 7, it doesn't look like there's anything on October 14th. That would be the next meeting.
Yeah, 'cause it's the second.
Oh,
Yeah,
It actually gives.
crazy, but it's the 23rd. That's the-
Wasn't also there.
They do that for week
Yeah.
because of fall.
Everybody gonna be here October 14th? We get all the way there. and then we-
I'm.
Terrible.
You said that.
Yeah, I don't know.
Dan, we're not on different pages.
No,
I doubt it right. Will you be here, Jennifer?
I should be here. The crazy travel.
It's
Formation.
Yeah.
these sort of.
I was just gonna ask,
unexpected people.
Yeah.
What, how many
Might
motions
just
do you
be
put
us.
tonight?
Oh,
That's
here.
fair.
Oh,
He doesn't get to have 2 birthdays. in one.
no, I'm gonna take that excuse for you. Okay. I mean, we can absolutely have a meeting on the 14th. We would not have Angela, we would have Tara, she's our CP guru.
I'm stuck with the alternates again.
Maybe Ray's having surgery.
Ray's having surgery.
We have nothing scheduled. For the 14th or the
Did we ask some of the alternates?
We have not, I know Ray won't be.
Right. And
That's-
he, no,
That's your next meeting.
The 14th is
Yeah.
the next scheduled meeting.
It does sound like it's really far.
No,
It seems like it's very far away.
In 1 week, it'll be 2 weeks away.
since the decision never happened.
Look, we always do what's right for you guys and it's township and it's a good feeling that we all have. So we can ask for continuance, is that? Ask for continuance in order. We committed to. And we hope on the 14th, we will feel the same way you do tonight.
And I think if you,
Unless you're back.
Yeah. And then request table to a time certain, October 14th, 7 p.m.
Go ahead and, make a motion. Yeah, a motion to continue case.
DCC representatives.
To October 14th at 7 p.m. at the Township Hall.
We advertise.
And they want to
I'll make a motion to continue BZC 007, application for modification of zoning plan for the state for time certain October 14th, 2025, for time certain at 7 p.m. at the township.
Second. I suggest materials get tested a certain date.
That's what I was just gonna ask.
Let's go ahead and let them, let's point.
Yeah, well,
oh, who's not doing that?
Jasper.
Ms. Lewis?
Yes.
You're Chris?
yes.
Ms. Brown? Ms. Caplan?
Yes.
Thank you. And I appreciate it, I really do.
We
I think we've gone too far to leave any holes.
We understand that you may not have, obviously, that we were to put the top off there.
No,
That,
we're not looking at that. And I'd like to be able to get that to you quickly, all these commitments as well as some look at the changes that will work with our engineer. and our-
I mean, I would like to have no conditions.
But,
yeah, and all.
yeah, clean.
When
Why clean?
When do you want?
if you could submit them, I mean, if you could submit them by 29th, Monday the 29th, or how many days, Jerry, how many days does it usually take to get from the time that they're submitted?
So Jerry's suggestion is that
By the 3rd, they have So you guys have at least a week to review it.
So we'll have,
I'm thinking this one.
Okay, well, that's next.
How about
The 29th is the Chelsea comes in on Wednesday.
And we need the. We need her help.
I don't know. Bruce, but anyway.
But wouldn't she be in on the eighth? I don't know, who's on the front.
Yeah, it should be on the 8th, but then it's reduced time.
Yeah.
I would respectfully ask the third, being that you've seen most of the
We see
material.
them, you know.
Looking for my updates to it. It gives me a little bit of room to make sure it's correct.
and also gives us a chance to throw it the group and somebody look at it, hey, use the wrong one. I want to make sure it's right. Thank you guys. We really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
How many, there's still a lot to write on these.
There, I know. You know how many notes we've had for. And then you start going, is that exhibit or is that? No, I'm trying to, I agree.
You did. You did.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Discussing possible amendments to the Berlin Township zoning resolution. Jared did send this out. I think I got the page. I mean, a lot of the red line that you sent to us, of the zoning resolution. That's fine. I don't have anything to add. Anybody else has time to review or? Yeah, I think we're.
There have been a couple additional, and I haven't really yet, I've got to talk to all three. We recently ran into a situation where, on a specific, on the third grade, an individual put up a privacy fence. And we tried to mow outside of that privacy fence, and they said cease and desist because there were flowers in it. So we had an REA done, which is request for engineering assistance, found out that that fence was 7 feet outside the right. But they didn't, they said they were permitted, but we never did it. The township never did a permit because we don't do fences.
Right.
But Delaware County approved the fence.
Wow.
So now, trying to find out what can we do? And I didn't negotiate, but I talked to the builder of it, that as long as they let us mow outside, it would stay. It just said if something happened, emergency, it goes down. We don't pay it. Is how his stand is on it. The point I'm trying to make is within the resolution, we gotta have something, right of way or proof that whatever they're putting up is on their property. We don't know, so I'm gonna suggest to the team that let's start listing the resolution, and we have those things in there that bite us. And we never had that officially, this is supporting it, in the zoning inspector instead of.
So would you send that to Scott Sanders or?
I'm sorry.
Would you submit that to Scott Sanders or ask him for advice? on
Well,
language?
it's a list of resolution,
Wow.
suggestions or something that anybody can add to so we can address it. Because right now we've addressed what is in that current resolution. Levi was trying to address some of the trustees' concerns.
Right.
And that's what I saw.
Wow, okay. That's a very big document.
I will say, I'm taking the time to go through the zoning resolution now, and making some comments. Holly and the team are meeting with it as well.
And we'll make sure that we have the one that Levi was working with.
Yeah, that would be great.
Because it's redlined already. And so in the last meeting, the commission got.
Okay. All right, is there any business from you?
Well, I've been doing it for the last 19 years. And Friday is my last day.
Oh, Jerry.
In Berlin Township right now, so we'll see what happens.
This is the last BZC meeting, right?
Do what?
This is your last BZC meeting?
Yes.
Yes, it is.
I have one more meeting tomorrow. I suppose he's gonna also be taking the tower.
Maybe you'll get appointed.
Yeah.
It's their way. It's their way.
Very good.
Only after April, because she.
Yeah, you have to, when they come back.
I know this, I love the township. I'm gonna be right back here for like 500 years, so I'm gonna show this.
Oh, Jerry.
Well, I have to do, right. These two could help.
Oh, boy.
Starting tomorrow, I think here. I got the list here, you wouldn't believe.
Oh, Jerry, I just don't even know what to say.
I appreciate you.
We have appreciated your help. Thank you. You worked very hard to improve our township.
I'm happy to hear those years.
Honest thought. But then, the township, I was lost in her head. She's been around for 51 years, but now she's saying, that honeydew list, she's been saying.
Oh, there are no worries, but enjoy. I still have your phone number.
So, I have the business card, I would put my number on there.
Aye. Okay, well, that's a bittersweet note. So we do have our next meeting on October 14th, which we just discussed before we visit Ross. And any other questions or thoughts or things from our commissioners? All right. Okay. Anybody want to make a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn.
All right. Second.
Yes.
I don't think we need to vote, do we? No. Thank you, everybody. Oh, Jerry.
I'm happy for you.